Chapter 4 Beginning of an Alliance. Deep in the mountains of Colorado, under hundreds of feet of rock, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex is abuzz with activity. It's been 2 weeks since the arrival of Anakin and his task force. Since then, news of extraterrestrials visiting Earth have spread across the planet. Most of the planet, and even most governments, still don't know the full truth of what's going on. However, many units within the U.S. military know of the truth, at least to a degree. The personnel at Cheyenne Mountain are on constant alert, conducting constant surveillance of the outer atmosphere and Earth orbit, keeping watch for further arrivals. As a young first lieutenant is watching a video feed from a satellite in orbit, he suddenly sees something appear on the screen. "Colonel!" he calls out to the colonel on watch. The colonel quickly walks over. "What is it, Lieutenant?" he asks. "Sir, look," the lieutenant says, pointing to his screen. The colonel leans in to take a closer look, and sees now 20 ships on the screen. As he watches, 4 more pop up. "Zoom in," the colonel orders. The lieutenant types a few keys, and the view zooms in, giving the colonel a better look. He takes a close look and recognizes the shape from a briefing he was sent. "Contact National Command. Let them know the Republic's follow-on forces have started arriving," he says. The Pentagon. Anakin sighs a bit as he twiddles his thumbs. After a few days of being allowed to remain in the White House, President Bush has ordered them to be transferred to the Pentagon, the national military command structure of the United States. By now, he's getting seriously bored. He's been trying to take the time to get in some extra practice in teaching with Ahsoka, but due to restrictions imposed on their activity for the time being, it's made it difficult. Anakin has begun to lose his patience with the Americans. However, as time has gone on, the Americans have shown a greater level of trust towards the visitors from the Republic, and have allowed them more free rein. Some tour guides had given them a tour of the museums that made up the Smithsonian a few days ago. Anakin had found the Air and Space Museum to be very interesting. Not only that, but just yesterday they had had the opportunity to celebrate a local American holiday. The holiday, known as Thanksgiving, was apparently a time for Americans to gather together to give thanks and enjoy dinner together. Anakin and Ahsoka had been invited to celebrate Thanksgiving with the President and his family, while the clones were invited to a Thanksgiving celebration with an army unit known as the Old Guard. Anakin and Ahsoka had found it to be an intriguing concept of a holiday, one of a number they had learned, but had rather enjoyed it. "General Skywalker." Anakin turns to see a young army captain standing a few feet away, his hands behind his back. "Yes, Captain?" Anakin asks. "We just received a transmission from the Cheyenne Mountain Command Center in Colorado. Satellites in orbit caught the arrival of 24 ships in Earth orbit less than an hour ago. They matched the shape and design of the ships in your task force, along with a few other ships. We have not yet established contact with them, but we presume them to be the follow-on task force you told us was coming," the captain responds. Anakin starts to smile. "Thank you, Captain. I'll contact them immediately," he says, pulling out his comlink. After a few moments, Admiral Yularen pops up on the comlink. "Hello, General," the Admiral responds. "Admiral, I was just informed by the Americans that more Republic warships just arrived in orbit. Can you patch me through to them?" Anakin asks. "Right away, sir. Stand by," Yularen responds. His image disappears, only to be replaced a few moments later by a larger image, which includes Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Yoda, and Bail Organa. "Masters, Senator, so good to see you again," Anakin says. "Hello, Anakin. What news from this new planet?" Obi-Wan says. "Nothing much. Many of the countries are getting impatient for news about us, but other than that, things are normal. We just celebrated a holiday with the Americans yesterday," Anakin says. "Well, that sounds nice," Obi-Wan replies. "Yes. However, now that you're here, I would advise you to make your way down here immediately. The President will want to speak to you. Also, it's about time we address the rest of the countries on this planet," Anakin says. "Very well. Make our way down soon, we will," Yoda says. "All right. I'll let the President know, then call you back and tell you where to go," Anakin says. "All right, Anakin. We'll be waiting," Obi-Wan responds. "Keep them on. We can contact the President from here," the American captain says. He then walks toward a phone and dials a number. After a few moments, he says, "Yes, Mr. President. General Skywalker would like to speak with you." He then holds out the receiver towards Anakin. Still holding his comlink, Anakin steps forward and takes the phone. Mr. President, this is General Skywalker. Follow-on force has arrived. The Jedi and Senate delegation is ready to come down to meet with you and would like to know where to go, he says. Tell them that so long as the ship is not too large, they may land on the White House lawn. President Bush responds. Very well. Thank you, Mr. President, he says before hanging up. Anakin then looks down at the projection from his comlink. I'm sure you all can track where I am. Near me there are two large white buildings. One has a large dome, one does not. The President would like you to land on the lawn of the second. I'd take an LAAT down, if I were you, Anakin says. All right, Anakin. We'll be down shortly, Obi-Wan responds, before the transmission is terminated. Anakin then turned towards the captain. Captain, could you arrange for transport to the White House for me and my Padawan? Yes. I'll get right on it, sir, the captain says before walking out of the room. 20 minutes later. Anakin taps his foot slightly as he watches the sky. Ahsoka, Rex, and the rest of the clones are waiting next to him, as is President Bush, Secretary of State James Baker, and about a dozen military guards. Did they say when they would be arriving? President Bush asks. Not exactly, but soon, Anakin responds. The group is quiet again for a few moments. Then a noise can be heard. Anakin keeps scanning the sky, and after a few seconds sees an LAAT soaring down. There they are, he says, pointing at the gunship. President Bush and his company watch as the LAAT soars down and lands a few meters away. A ramp lowers from the gunship, and Obi-Wan, Mace, and Bail all walk down, followed slowly by Yoda. Master, welcome to Terra, Anakin says with a grin. Good to be here, Anakin, Obi-Wan says with a smile. Giving Anakin a single nod, Mace turns to face President Bush. So, you must be the president of this country, he says matter-of-factly. President Bush nods in return. Yes, I am President George H.W. Bush of the United States of America, he responds. Mace nods respectfully. Then, on behalf of the Republic, I extend our appreciation for your hospitality and willingness to listen to us, he says. President Bush nods respectfully back. Then he says, Come with me. I have some things I would like to discuss with you. Oval Office, shortly after. So, would you mind giving me your names? President Bush asked from his seat behind his desk. Anakin, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Mace, Yoda, and Bail are all sitting on couches and in armchairs around his desk. I am Obi-Wan Kenobi, a member of the Jedi High Council, Obi-Wan says. I am Mace Windu. I am also a member of the Council, Mace says. Yoda, my name is. Also on the Council, I am, Yoda says. President Bush looks a little intrigued at Yoda's manner of speaking, but doesn't comment on it. And I am Bail Organa. I am the senator from Alderaan in the Galactic Republic, Bail says. The president looks over them for a moment before saying, Well, glad to finally have some real authorities from the Republic here. Now perhaps you can address my concerns. Yoda motions for President Bush to continue. President Bush continues speaking. I don't know how much Skywalker here has told you about our planet, but there are almost 200 countries on this planet. Not all of them are on the best terms with the United States. Some may not be inclined to cooperate with you due to the connection you've already established with us, and some may even prefer to side with the Separatists, President Bush says. We were aware of this, to a degree. This lack of unity is a concern, but I feel confident we can solve this, Obi-Wan says optimistically. I don't quite share your optimism, Master Kenobi. However, I have ordered a convening of the United Nations Security Council, which includes the representatives of the world's major military powers. If you can present your information on the situation in the correct light, I believe that the Security Council will be united in support of an official alliance with the Republic. If we can get the entire Security Council on our side, then it will be much easier for us to contain any rebellions or put down any attempt by any country to side with the Separatists. President Bush responds. Do you really think the Security Council will be united on this? Mace asks a little suspiciously. Maybe. In this kind of situation, you never know, President Bush says honestly. Well, if there are countries that do try to side with the Separatists, I'm sure we can take care of them easily, Anakin says confidently. Don't be so confident, General Skywalker. There's no telling what would happen in such a situation. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now there's another matter I'd like to discuss with you, President Bush says. What is that? Obi-Wan asks. President Bush looks between the Jedi, then says, I've had the opportunity to speak with General Skywalker a lot since he arrived here. And in the course of our discussions, he's told me a lot about the Jedi, your enemies the Sith, and the power that you both share, the Force. I've had time to think about this, and the concept of the Sith leading the Separatists is highly disconcerting to me, President Bush says. I'm sure it would be. However, I do not quite see what point you are trying to make, Obi-Wan says. What I'm saying is that if we are going to ally with the Republic, I don't want arms shipments to be the only aid. I want our planet to be able to defend itself reasonably well. Also, I want to be able to see the peace across this planet that the Jedi seem to bring to the Republic. Therefore, I would like to make a request. I would like for you and the Jedi Order to search out Force-sensitive people here on this planet and train them as Jedi, President Bush says. After a moment, Mace Windu speaks up. That is a bold request. In any case, were we to do so, it would take us many years, as Jedi are trained from infancy. I understand that's how you do things, but I don't much care. I do not intend to allow this planet to potentially be at the mercy of the Sith. I believe many world leaders would agree with me. Whether they are children or teenagers or adults, I want you to help us build up a Jedi Order of our own, President Bush says firmly. I don't believe we can do that, Mr. President, Mace says. Then I don't believe we can trust the Republic to be able to aid us when we need it, President Bush responds flatly. Mace feels a little surprised at the President's boldness. He is about to retort when Yoda speaks up and says, To think on this, please allow us, Mr. President. President Bush is quiet for a moment before nodding. Then he says, You may remain here in the White House.